Skit 1, First Class of Semester. Good morning, everyone. I'm your English teacher, Ms. Kent.
Hi, Miss Kent.
Before we start, I'd like to go over some rules. Do we have to take notes? No, you don't. Just listen carefully. First, I want you to always remember that this is an English class. This is a class for you to learn how to speak English. This means I want you to speak English.
That sounds harsh.
I know it sounds harsh, but it really isn't. Trust me. I'll teach you everything you need to know to speak English in class. So basically, you're just going to talk among your classmates with the expressions I teach you. You don't need to say anything you don't know. It's going to be fun. I don't understand. No problem. I don't expect you to understand everything I say in English. So I will repeat what I say whenever necessary and speak slowly. Even though I speak both Korean and English, I will speak Korean only when it is absolutely necessary. So you can teach us in Korean if we don't understand, right? Right. I will be speaking Korean and English as needed. I will be speaking Korean rather often to start with to make sure you understand what I say. However, I'm not going to speak Korean unless it is essential. Understood?
Some students nod.
Okay. Rule 2. I also want you to know that as long as you speak English, you can talk about anything, anytime. Anything and anytime? Yes. Feel free to interrupt if you have something to say. We can talk to anyone? You got that right. You can talk to your friend, you can talk to me, or anyone else in the classroom. However, remember that you should only speak English. Also, be nice to everyone. Don't be rude. Don't upset anyone. Sound good?
Speaking English only is too hard.
It could be in the beginning. However, once you get used to it, it will get easier. Anyway, you can ask me questions in Korean for the next month. I'm doing this because not many of you know how to ask questions in English yet. So basically, you have a month to pick up enough English to ask me questions in English. One more thing I want you to know in this class is that there is no such thing as a silly question. No question is silly. So always feel free to ask questions about anything. I'm going to say this in Korean again so you understand this for sure, okay?
Okay.
Good. Now, since this is the first class, let's try to get to know each other. Go ahead and turn around. Ask questions about each other. We don't know how to ask questions in English. Don't worry, I'll explain. Let's go over the things you can ask about. I'm sorry, but could you speak slowly, please? Sure. You can ask your friends questions about their personal information. This includes name, age, phone number, email, place of birth, birthday, family, favorite songs, favorite foods, favorite sports, pets, seasons, etc. You can also ask what they like to do on weekends, where they live, where they go over the weekends, what sports they play, what subjects they like, what they want to be when they grow up, and things like that.
Can you give us some example expressions for asking these questions?
Sure. Let me pull up my computer here. Okay, here is a PowerPoint presentation. Now I will also show you some words and idioms you can use to ask and answer questions. Now, let's go over this together. I will read the sample questions and answers, as well as the words of activities in each line. Please repeat after me.
Miss Kent reads each of them 3 times in different speeds, and the class repeats after Miss Kent.
Now I will give you 5 minutes to go over these expressions by yourself. Try to figure out what they mean and when you would use them.
Students go over the sample expressions.
Good. Remember, what's your name is a common pattern to many questions. You can replace the name with any words, such as phone number, address, hobby, and many more.
Okay.
Now let me show you how to answer these questions. It is very easy. Just simply answer the question by saying, "My blank is blank." For example, my name is James, and my birthday is March 6th. My phone number is 303-907-8793, and so on. Now I'm going to ask a question, and you're all going to answer it, okay?
Okay.
All right then. What is your favorite song?
Everyone says their favorite song.
Good. Now before I explain the question, "What are you doing this weekend?" please repeat after me. What are you doing this weekend?
What are you doing this weekend?
Good. This is what you say if you want to hang out.
Then, can I also ask, what will you do over break?
Sure you can. That is very good.
But how would you answer?
You can say, for example, "I'm not doing much this weekend," or "I'm helping my parents," or "I'm hanging out with friends." Do you understand what I'm saying?
Students nod.
Now, the next one is, "What do you like to do?" This you can say to find out what kind of activities your partner likes to do for fun. Ms. Kent, what do you like to do? Are you asking me the question? Yes, I am. Oh, Ruth is getting the hang of it. I like to play the saxophone when I have time. What about you, Ruth? What do you like to do? I like to chat with friends. People say I'm chatty. Great. That was wonderful, Ruth. I think Ruth and I demonstrated a good example of what do you like to do, didn't we? The next question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Obviously, you say this when you want to find out what your partner wants to be in the future. To this type of question, you can simply answer the question by saying what you want to be when you grow up. Or you can answer by saying, I want to be a teacher, or instead of a teacher, you can say whatever you want to be. I know the next one. When is your birthday? My birthday is March 6th. Good job, but don't ask and answer questions. I know. Good. Now I'm going to let you guys get to know each other better by asking and answering questions about each other. I will leave this screen on so you can use it if you need it. Please take turns with asking questions. So one person asks and the other answers all of the questions. When the person gets done with all of the questions, then switch roles. Take about 10 minutes each, so a total of 20 minutes to ask and answer questions. You may want to remember or take notes on what your partner says because you will have to present it to the class afterwards.
Can I ask whatever I want to know?
That is a good question. Basically, yes, but don't be rude. That's not good, you know. So be nice to your partners. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
Also, keep in mind you can make things up if you don't feel like telling the truth. This class is to practice speaking English, not to be stressed to say things you don't feel comfortable saying. You don't have to tell the truth.
I like that.
Great. Everyone find a partner and start finding things out about your partner. If you don't have a partner, let me know. I will get you one. Tony, do you mind if I team up with you?
No, not at all. So, how would you like to do it? Would you like to ask questions first?
Sure. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
What is your address? I mean, where do you live?
I live in Boulder. My address is 5370 Drew Circle, Boulder, Colorado, 80305.
I see. What is your favorite color?
Green.
Green is nice, but I like yellow better. What's your phone number?
My phone number is 353 730 5924.
What do you like to do for fun?
I love to play video games. I'm crazy about it. However, my mom doesn't like it.
I know boys like video games a lot. I have a brother who is crazy about video games too. What else do you like to do?
I like to play tennis.
How many people are there in your family?
Just the three of us. My mom, dad, and me.
What about your grandparents?
I have a grandmother, but she does not live with us.
What does your dad do?
He's a handyman. He works for himself.
Wow. Can he fix things at home?
Yeah, there is nothing he can't do. He fixes everything.
Cool. What does your mom do?
My mom works at a restaurant. She makes sushi.
I love sushi. You are a lucky guy to have a mom like that.
Yeah, she's a really good cook. She can cook other kinds of food too, like Italian.
Do you like Italian food?
I do. I love pasta.
What do you usually do on the weekends?
I usually hang out with friends at the park by my house. I play basketball, tetherball, and I also like to bike.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I don't know. A video gamer maybe?
Oh, I forgot to ask you about your favorite subject. So, what's your favorite subject?
PE, of course.
What's your next favorite subject?
Band.
Cool. I think that's it.
Okay, let me ask you questions then. First, when's your birthday?
October 15th.
Do you like autumn the most?
Yes.
Do you have a boyfriend?
No. My mother won't let me have one.
Why not?
I don't know. She is a tiger mom.
What is your favorite movie?
I really like the Harry Potter series.
Wow, me too. Don't you think it's just great?
Yeah.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm not completely sure yet. I want to be either a teacher, a doctor, an explorer, or a pianist. I want to be everything.
Wow, that's a lot. What do you like to do for fun?
I like to read and watch movies.
How many people are there in your family?
4. I live with my parents and a brother.
How old is your brother?
He will be 7 soon.
Okay. What's your father's job?
He is a computer programmer. He works for TEA.
Does he teach you stuff about computers?
No, he doesn't touch computers at home.
Where does your mom work?
She works at a hospital. She is a nurse.
Where do you live?
I live in Boulder, like you.
How far is it from school?
About a 10-minute drive.
Do you have an email address?
Yes, I do.
What is your email address?
It is ruth@nerds.com.
That's funny. What do you do on the weekends?
I clean my room, read books, play the piano, and hang out with friends.
What kind of food do you like the most?
Definitely Italian.
Tony raises his hand to ask a question to Mrs. Kent.
Yes, Tony?
Ruth said her mom was a tiger mom, so I want to ask her why she is a tiger mom. Is that okay?
Yes, you can ask, why do you think your mom is a tiger mom?
Thanks. So, why do you think your mom is a tiger mom?
Because she's mean. She doesn't let me have sleepovers, she won't let me have a boyfriend, and she won't allow me to have my ears pierced either.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm finished, I guess.
Is everyone finished?
Yes.
Then let's see how much you've found out about your partners. Tony, please come out and tell us what you learned.
I talked to Ruth. Her birthday is October 15th and she loves autumn. She does not have a boyfriend because her mom is a tiger mom, and she likes to read books and watch movies. She wants to be a nurse, a teacher, a traveler, and so on.
No, not a nurse. My mother is a nurse.
Oops, my mistake. Sorry. She has a younger brother turning 7 soon, and her dad is a computer programmer. Her mom, as you know, is a nurse. She lives in Boulder. That's about it.
Well done. I like it. Now, Ruth, what did you find out about Tony? I talked to Tony. He also lives in Boulder. Green is his favorite color, and his dad is a handyman. His dad can fix everything. His mom is a sushi cook at a restaurant. She cooks Italian food very well, too. He likes to eat pasta, and he is crazy about video games. He wants to become a video gamer. PE is his favorite class, and he is the only child in his family. He has a grandma. He likes to hang out with friends over the weekends at a park. I think that's about it.
All the students in the class present what they found.
Very well. I hope you enjoyed talking to your friend in English. When you know more about each other, you can understand each other better as well. Good friends understand and help each other. Your homework for today is to go interview 5 friends just like you did during the class. Any questions? Class is dismissed. See you next time. Skit 2. Storytelling of a skit. Take your seats. Could you be quiet, please, so I can see who's missing? No one? Good.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure. What is it?
What's the license plate number for your car?
Is there a reason you should know?
No, not really.
Believe it or not, I don't remember my license plate number.
Is the license plate number 200MVB? I think it is.
I'm not too sure. Why?
I love cars. I pretty much know every teacher's license plate.
Is that so? That is amazing. So what about my car, Jack?
I saw your car yesterday.
Where?
I'm not sure where, but it was on an exit off the highway.
When?
Around 5:30 in the evening.
Not me. I was at home watching a basketball game. It must have been my son who is attending a college in Boston. He was visiting us over the weekend, and I let him drive my car. Anyway, it's a little surprising that you can recognize my car. Ms. Kent, how do you say Oma mori apayo in English? Good question. In English, you would simply say, Mom, my head hurts. Mom, my head hurts. Thank you. You are very welcome. Let's get started. Today, as I told you last time, I want to do storyline telling. You know what storyline telling is. We've done this a couple of times. You will tell the storyline of one of the past scenarios. Please take 5 minutes to review Skit 3 and prepare for the storyline telling. All right, time's up. Ruth, you are up. Please tell us the story of Skit number 3. Everyone else, please listen carefully to see how other people present their stories. In the story, there are 3 kids, Ben, Ruth, and Brandon. They talk about their aunt and uncle, who send them a bunch of gifts for Christmas. Ben said that his uncle would come to visit. Ruth also said she had an aunt. I don't know where she lives, though. I don't think they talked about it. Good job, Ruth. Do you remember if Ben's uncle was married? Oh, yes. I forgot about that part. He isn't married. Very good. Now, Jeff, could you please tell us your story?
Sure. There are 3 people in the story. Ben brags about his uncle who lives in Florida. Then there is Ruth, who also brags about her aunt because she buys her a bunch of presents every year for Christmas, like Ben's uncle. Then there is poor Brandon, who has no uncle or aunt like them. Ben's uncle is single, and so is Ruth's aunt, but they don't know how old they are.
Very good. Alice, you are up next. Okay, 3 people speak in the play. Ben has an uncle who buys him lots of presents. However, Brandon doesn't have an uncle. Ruth's aunt isn't married, and she likes her aunt. Ruth's aunt is getting married to a strong man soon. Good job. There are 3 people in the play. Ben has an uncle who buys a lot of presents for him. But Brandon neither has an uncle nor an aunt. Ruth's aunt is still single. Ruth is very proud of her aunt. However, she will get married soon to a strong man, like a football star, right?
Alice nods her head.
Alice, do you remember if Ben met his uncle's girlfriend? Yes. Ben said his girlfriend was pretty. Right. Ben said his uncle's girlfriend was pretty. How tall was his uncle's girlfriend? Ben said his uncle's girlfriend was tall. Right. Ben said his uncle's girlfriend was tall. Then what did Brandon say? He said he wanted to have an uncle. Right. He wanted to have an uncle. He wished that he had an uncle.
Seriously, I also wish I had an uncle or an aunt who buys me a bunch of gifts. My father is an only child, and so is my mother.
Don't your parents buy you presents? Mine do.
Yeah, they do. But you get more gifts with an uncle like that, you know?
I guess you are right.
I don't have an uncle or an aunt either. But my grandma buys me gifts and even gives me an allowance on holidays and on my birthday.
I have uncles and aunts, but I don't get many gifts from them. They're married. They also have children. They live in a different country and they don't come visit us. However, they call on birthdays and holidays and we talk a lot.
Oh, I think I get it. Jeff, is your grandma alone? Yeah, my grandpa passed away 3 years ago. See? In the play, Ben's uncle is single, and so is Ruth's aunt, and so is Jeff's grandma. What are you talking about? Look, Cecilia's aunts and uncles are married with kids. So what? Ruth, do you have an uncle or an aunt?
Yeah, they are married though.
See? See what? They're all single. The single people buy stuff for their nephews, nieces, and grandkids.
Are you saying that single people can afford more than married people to buy gifts for their family members and relatives?
Yes.
I don't know about that. Well, I've enjoyed this discussion. Keep in mind, though, that having family members and relatives is not about getting gifts or money on holidays. It's about loving and caring for one another. You will know this when you grow up. Well, I still want to do more storyline telling of the skit. Jack, you are up.
Well, everyone already presented the whole story already, so I don't have anything new to add. However, I think I can relate to Brandon. I feel sorry for him. He doesn't have an uncle or an aunt who will buy him stuff during the holidays. He envies others. He keeps asking about Ben's uncle and Ruth's aunt because he's curious. He finds that they are all single and he thinks that the two can get married. Funny thing is, Brandon thinks that Ben and Ruth would get many more gifts if their aunt and uncle got married to each other. But he soon finds that each of them is engaged.
Good job. I like the way you pointed out one particular aspect of the story and expressed Brandon's feelings in detail. Questions? Why do you relate to Brandon, Jack?
I kind of have a similar experience to Brandon's. Most of my friends have uncles, aunts, grandpas, and grandmas who buy them a lot of stuff on holidays, but I don't have any. I only live with my mom, who always has to work, so I'm alone most of the time. That's why I think I can empathize with Brandon.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Don't worry, I'm used to it.
Good. That's the storyline telling for today. Keep in mind that we will always either do storyline telling or the skit presentation for a couple of skits chosen within the most recent 300 lines. This way, we will get to repeat saying English lines as many times as possible during the program. Meanwhile, I will watch for your performance and participation in the class. Your activities in the class will play a big role in your grade. Any questions? How do you get credit for class participation? By following directions, attending class, and paying attention to what your peers say during the class. Okay. Today we will start skit number 10. It is a rather long skit with around 130 lines, but it is very interesting. It begins with a situation where a big family orders pizza for dinner. After dinner, they talk about going to a theme park the next day. From this skit, among many others, you will learn how to order pizza over the phone and order the toppings you want out of many. Since the skit is long, we'll divide it up into 3 parts so that we don't have to tackle all the lines at once. The first part will be up to line 451, where the pizza ordering is completed. The second part will be up to line 501, where dinner is done, and the rest will be part 3. So while we're working on part 1, the review scope for the skit presentation or storyline telling will be 300 lines back from line number 451. That is, to the line number 150. Remember, it is always 300 lines backwards from the last line of the current part. Then when we work on the second part, the review coverage will be 300 lines backward from line 501, which goes back to line 200, right? You are right. Let's get started on the first part of Skit 10. Let me play the audio first. Listen carefully to catch the sounds, especially intonation. Well, it seems like we have a problem. I will have it fixed by tomorrow, but I will read it to you for today. I like it more when you read than listening to the audio recording. It's easier to understand. Thank you, Cecilia. Well, now I would like to show you what pizza stores look like in the U.S. I also have collected a bunch of pizza photos for you to see. I'm sure that most of you already know about Pizza Hut, which is one of the most famous pizza chain restaurants. Before I show you the pictures of some pizza stores and various photos, let's see if we can get some names of famous pizza chains. There are 2 pizza chain names already in the skit, Blackjack and Domino's.
I heard about Papa John's, too.
Okay, those 4 may be the mainstream pizza chains, I believe. I had a friend who worked for a pizza store when he was studying in the United States. He told me that the young people in the U.S. love pizza, and pizza is always served at any event. I was also told that pizza is the only Western food that is delivered in the U.S. So, many teens work as pizza delivery men or women as a part-time job. They get paid by the store, and they also receive tips from the customers. Let me show you the photos of some pizza stores in the U.S. first. I like Pizza Hut the best. Their buildings are very distinct looking, too. Yeah, me too. The red hat-like roof is very impressive. I wonder what the name Pizza Hut means. It means a crudely built small house for pizza. It makes sense. Other pizza stores do not stand out like Pizza Hut. They just use the logos in the building. I have to agree with Cecilia on that. I think Pizza Hut is much more visible than other pizza stores. I like the delivery cars. They look cute with the triangular signs attached to the top. All right, I'm now going to show you some pictures of pizzas. Don't get too hungry. Wow, I love this picture. It looks so real and delicious. I'm hungry. What kind of toppings do you see on the pizza? I see mushrooms, bell peppers, sausages, and pineapples. I'm getting hungry. Tell me about it. My mouth is watering. I can't wait to have some pizza. What kinds of pizza do you like, Cecilia? I love all kinds of pizza, but cheese pizza is my favorite. All right. Could I just see a show of hands of people who like pizza?
You'd better be asking who does not like pizza to raise their hands.
Right. Raise your hand if you do not like pizza.
No one raises a hand.
My, do you all love pizza?
Well, I love pizza, but I can't eat any.
Why can't you eat it?
Actually, it's not that I can't eat it. I love to eat it, but I just can't digest it when I eat it. I have a digestion problem with dairy, like cheese.
What happens when you eat it?
I have to rush to the bathroom quite soon after eating it.
Wow, I have never heard of that. I've heard of that. My dad has the same problem. He can't drink regular milk either. He can't even have cream in his coffee.
Really? I feel sorry for your dad.
Yeah. Once we were at an Italian restaurant and he ordered some lasagna, not knowing it had cheese in it. Even though he didn't eat much of it, he got a very upset stomach on the way home. Jeff, do you get an upset stomach like that when you eat pizza?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's too bad. Pizza is my favorite food. I always ask for extra helpings of cheese on my pizza. I wish I had pizza for every meal.
I know, but I can't help it.
My brother and I together eat 2 large pizzas. We can probably eat more, but my mom won't let us. She worries I might gain too much weight. My mouth is watering. Me too. I wish the school cafeteria had pizza for lunch. All right, that's enough with the discussion. I'll give you 10 minutes to familiarize yourself with the scenario. Raise your hand if you have questions. Do you like pizza too? I did when I was young. However, as I'm getting older, I'm gradually liking traditional Korean food more and more. Especially those foods which I used to eat when I was young.
Students talk among each other, asking questions and working out the answers together in English. I like this class because we are allowed to talk, even though we are to speak in English only. There is always something interesting in this class. I love it.
I know. Ms. Kent is very generous. She is always encouraging as well. Attention, please. Now I'm going to call on someone to read the scenario out loud, and I want the whole class to repeat after that person. Cecilia, if you'll start.
Cecilia reads, and the class repeats after her.
Well, that's it for today. For tomorrow, please do the routine homework. That is, writing out 3 times and memorizing the lines of Part 1. It's due tomorrow. I also recommend you practice speaking English to each other. At least 20 minutes a day, every day. When you come to the English class, always be ready to talk in English. Don't hesitate to talk in English during the class. This is the class for you to talk about whatever you want to in English. Also, when you memorize the lines, do it in a way so that you enjoy it. The more you enjoy it, the more you will acquire it. If you need help, come see me. Skit 3. Helping with articulation. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Miss Kent.
It's a nice day out, isn't it? Yeah, can we go out today?
Yeah.
I would love to teach class outside today, but we do not have a portable DVD player.
We can present the skit again today.
I don't think so. We need to start a new skit.
Can we go out tomorrow if it's nice?
Maybe. I will think about it. Well, let's see who is missing today. Joe isn't here. Joe again? Does anyone know where Joe is?
His mom told my mom that he was very sick with the flu.
Did you guys hear Harry? Be careful. There is a flu going around.
Miss Kent, I have a question.
Sure. What is it?
How do you say "Uri jibe nolo wara" in English?
That is a good question, Eugene. To answer your question, let's think first about a situation where that expression would fit nicely. For example, let's assume that Eugene and Harry are talking about their weekend. Well, let's say Eugene goes, "What are you doing over the weekend?" Hold on. Let me type it up so everyone can see. There is one more E in weekend, Miss Kent. What are you talking about?
There is a typo in the word weekend.
Let me see. Aha, I see. My mistake. You are right. Thanks, Harry. Is this right now? Yes. Now let me continue. Then Harry may go. I don't know yet. I need to ask my mom. Not much, I guess. Why?
Well, actually, I'm going to my grandpa's birthday party this weekend.
That is good to know. But here in the example, let's just suppose that you don't know, okay?
Okay.
Then Eugene may respond, "Just wondering. Are you following me?"
Yes.
Then Harry may invite Eugene to hang out by saying, "Why don't you come over and hang out at my place?" This is how you can say that in English.
Can't you just say, come to my house to play?
Good question, Ken. Thanks for the question. Yes, you can say that too, except I think that sounds a little awkward. But it makes total sense and it's not wrong at all. However, come to my place or come over to my place may just be a better way to say it. Do you get it?
Yes.
Good. Make a good note of these expressions so that you can use them. I will read them out loud and you can repeat after me.
Miss Kent reads, and the class repeats after Miss Kent. Actually, I have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
How do you say 아빠, 용돈 좀 주세요 in English?
Good question. You could say, "Could I have some allowance, Dad?" Then your father would say, "For what?" Then you can say, "I need to buy a gift for my friend." Then your father would go, "How much do you need?" Then you can tell him whatever amount you would need.
Thank you. I will use that on my dad right away.
Well, don't abuse English.
I know. I won't.
Good. Again, make sure to take notes on these expressions. Now let's practice them a couple of times. Everyone, please repeat after me.
The teacher reads the lines, and the class repeats after Miss Kent.
Now it's time for presentations. First, let's review some of the skits we did before. Why don't you all quickly review skits 3 and 4 for about 10 minutes? Time's up. Now attention, please. Remember, I will evaluate each of the members based on memory, articulation, and presentation. You will get up to 7 points for memory, 5 points for articulation, and 3 points for presentation for a total score of 15. Are you ready?
Students are quiet.
Well, let's have Group B of Skit 3 do it first. All the members of Group B, please come out. You can bring your Korean scenario if you need to. Make sure you guys don't play a role you've played before. Ms. Kent, we don't have Joe. Oh, right. Okay, Ken, why don't you join this group for today?
Why me, Miss Kent?
Because I chose you.
All right.
Good. Again, I will leave it up to you guys to decide the roles to play. If you lose track of your lines, you can refer to the Korean scenario only. Ken, who are you playing?
I don't know. So far, I have played Johnson and Stewart. So, other than these two, I can play any character.
Then you can play Vivi this time since you haven't played her yet. What do you think, Ken?
That's fine with me. Jamie, you want to play Johnson?
Sure.
So, what characters are left? There is Stuart and Peter, but I've already played Peter before. You can play Peter. Well, I played Peter last time.
Then, Harry, why don't we exchange the characters? I know you haven't played Johnson yet.
Sure, I can do that. Group B presents their skit.
Good job. I liked it. It was a hard one, but you guys did very well. They acted it out pretty well, don't you guys think?
Yes.
Now, let us have Group C of Skit 4 up here. Group C, come out and present the skit, please.
All the Group C members come out to the front of the class.
Try to be natural and confident. Don't be shy. Also, don't be upset if you lose your lines. Do your best using the Korean scenario. Whenever you're ready.
Group C presents the skit.
Excellent. You guys did a good job too. I like the way you guys helped each other remember the lines. Great teamwork. That is what you need for good teamwork. So when you need help, don't be shy. Just ask for it. Remember, you need to communicate in English only, however. Any questions? No questions? Good. Today we will begin Skit 9. Please open the book to page 150. The title of the skit is Trip to Italy. It's about 310 lines. So it is quite a long one, and we will spend about 2 months on this one. I am going to split the skit into 8 parts so we can cover one part at a time instead of doing it all at once. So part 1 will be up to line number 40, part 2 up to 80, part 3 up to 120, part 4 up to 160, part 5 up to 200, part 6 up to 240, part 7 up to 280, and part 8 to the end. We will spend 5 class hours on each part. Now, let's try to tackle part 1. I will play the audio twice back to back with the individual lines repeated twice as well. Listen carefully and pay close attention to accents and intonations.
Miss Kent plays the audio for part 1.
Now this time, I will play the audio again with an interval time between the lines for you to repeat after. I will make it repeat each line twice. Please listen carefully and repeat after the player. Now that we have listened to it, let's see if we can read it together out loud. Shannon, please read part 1, and everyone else repeat loudly after Shannon. Whenever you have a question, raise your hand and let me know. Shannon, whenever you are ready. So, we are leaving tomorrow?
So, we are leaving tomorrow?
1 second. I believe I heard someone say the R sound for the word leaving. Be careful. It is not R, but L. R makes the lir sound in the beginning of a Korean syllable, and the tongue does not touch the palate, the roof of the mouth. However, the L sound makes the similar sound to the lir sound at the end of a Korean syllable, and the tongue does touch the palate.
Miss Kent, what is a syllable?
Oh, Daniel, That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. A syllable is a single unit of speech. In Korean, each character is a syllable. For example, 친구 has 2 syllables and 부모님 has 3 syllables. So the beginning part of a syllable means the first letter of the syllable, and the ending part of a syllable means the last letter of the syllable, like 지유 and 니은, respectively, for 친 in 친구. Do you get it?
Yes, I think I do.
Good. Then let's see if we can distinguish the sounds between words such as fly and fry and lute and root. Now everybody will take turns and say these words. Let's start with Jamie and go around counterclockwise.
Students take turns articulating the words, and Daniel has a hard time with distinguishing the sounds.
Okay, Daniel. You are doing well, but I believe I heard some in-between sounds when you say fly and lute. Let's see if we can work on it. Now say fly for me, please.
Fry,
Good try. Now say for me.
ol,
Good. Now put f and together for me, please.
full,
Yes, there you go. Good job. That's how you do it. Now say fly.
fry,
Well, I believe I heard a little bit of the R sound again. Let's try again. Say f-ul for me.
full,
Very good. Now try to say it quickly and you should be able to say fl.
fly, and fry.
There you go. Good. Very good. Now, Daniel, read from where Shannon stopped. Everybody please repeat after Daniel loudly with your mouth wide open. It is very important for you to articulate the sounds correctly. Otherwise, it will be much more difficult to pick up the English sounds. What do you mean by articulate? Oh, good question. Articulate here means to pronounce or to make the sounds of a word. Thank you. You are welcome. I thank you for the question.
Daniel reads the remaining part of Part 1.
Very good. Now let's listen to the audio one more time. This time, shadow the audio. How do I do that? Good question. You just repeat after what you hear almost at the same time as the audio plays. That's what shadowing is. Why do we do that, Ms. Kent? Well, that helps you pick up the speed and intonation. During class, you will be shadowing quietly because there are so many students. When you are alone, however, you should always talk with an appropriate volume. I get it. Thanks. You are very welcome. Now let's do some shadowing. As I said, you will do it quietly. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear the audio. Now, let's see if you can listen and comprehend the lines. I will pick one of you to read the lines. Then the person will pick one person to listen and explain the meanings of the lines you read. However, a person may not be chosen more than once. Do you get it?
What?
I think I got it, Miss Kent. So if you pick me to read, I should pick someone else to explain what I read. Right, Miss Kent? You got it right. Does everyone get it?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started then. Let's start with Shannon, as you seem to understand it well. Okay, I pick Harry.
Gosh, Shannon.
Harry, calm down.
Shannon reads and Harry explains, but Harry gets stuck. I have no idea what it means.
That's okay. Who can help Harry with his line?
I can.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Jamie explains the meaning.
Good job. Now let's move on to another team. This time, how about you read, Daniel?
I will pick Eugene.
Good. We are out of time for today. We will continue working on Skit 9 tomorrow. For tomorrow, you may want to write out each line 5 times for homework. You don't need to write down the meanings in Korean, though. Just the English, but 5 times. While you are writing it, try to memorize the lines. That is the main goal of the homework. Any questions? The whole skit 5 times? No, just part 1. That is, the lines up to 40. Clear? Just part 1 5 times? Yes. I said write out each line of part 1 5 times, not 5 times of part 1 as a whole unit. I see. Tomorrow, for the review time, we will revisit some of the skits from skits 4 through 8. Remember that you will be evaluated during the skit review for your presentation. Practice those skits so you can present them fluently. Any other questions? No questions? Class is dismissed.
Can I see what I got on my presentation?
Sure. You got 6, 4, and 3, accumulating to a score of 13. That's about an 87%. Great job, but for next time, try to remember lines better and improve your pronunciation.
Thank you.
You are welcome. See you tomorrow. How about mine? Shannon, you got 6.5, 4.5, and 3, a total of 14 out of 15. You did quite well. Thank you. Bye. You are welcome. Bye. Can I see mine too? Of course you can. Let me show you. Wow, you got full marks. Great job. Looks like you studied hard. Yes, I did. I love this class. It is so exciting to play different skits each time. I'm glad to hear that. I can tell you have really improved a lot. Thank you for the compliment. See you tomorrow. Bye. Skit 4. Evaluation. Good morning, class. It's cloudy today. Does anyone like cloudy weather?
No one raises hand.
No one likes cloudy weather, huh?
I do during the hot summer because it gets cool, but not any other time of the year, especially not in the winter.
I'm with Ken on that one. When it is cloudy, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to stay in bed all day long. That is interesting. I don't like cloudy weather either.
Why do clouds exist?
Well, I'm not sure, but let me ask my meteorologist friend and get back to you tomorrow.
What is a meteorologist?
Good question. A meteorologist is a person who studies weather, like those people on TV who give the weather forecast.
Oh, I see.
Speaking of weather, let's learn some useful expressions related to weather. Any questions on weather-related topics? I want to know how to say 내일 날씨가 어때요 in English. Good. We can get a few phrases related to weather. Let me introduce a short conversation on weather. A. What is the weather like tomorrow? B. I heard it's going to be sunny. A. Oh, finally. What's the high tomorrow? B. They said it would be around 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, they said it would be cloudy in the afternoon. A. Oh no, not again. I'm tired of this cloudy weather. B. Yeah, I hope it doesn't get worse. Let's practice these lines. Please repeat after me. I will read them 3 times.
Miss Kent reads the short dialogue and students read after her.
Now, let's practice some of the old skits. Today, I would like to have Group A of Skit 4 present the skit. You guys know the drill, so have at it.
Alex, come on up. What? Don't you know? You are in our group for Skit 4. Oh, right. There are just so many groups. I got confused. I know. It's been a while since we last got together for this skit.
You should remember which group you belong to for each skit. Also, you should maintain the language and the fluency of the lines for each skit so that you can play any character of any skit anytime on any given day. Not only that, try to speak English using the lines from the skits. If you can do that, your English will soon be excellent. Now, the members of Group A for Skit 4, please come out and present the skit.
Group A arranges the roles for each member and presents Skit 4.
Very good. Thank you. Now let's have Group D of Skit 6. Group D of Skit 6, come out, please. Also, please speak English only when you talk among yourselves to arrange the characters.
Group D arranges the roles by themselves and presents Skit 6.
Well done. Now let's work on the new skit we started yesterday. Well, yesterday, we didn't finish the first part of Skit 9, and we will try to finish that part today so that you can all do a group practice tomorrow. Before we go further, let me first collect your homework. Please pass your homework up to the front.
Alex raises a hand.
Yes, Alex?
I forgot to bring my homework. Can I bring it tomorrow?
Yes, but you understand that there is a 10% deduction, right?
Yes, I do.
Then that's okay. Now, let's focus on the second half of the part. First, I will play the audio for you, so listen up.
Miss Kent plays the audio.
How was it? Did everyone follow it all right?
It was okay, but it would still be hard to say them, I guess.
That's okay. I don't expect you to be able to say the lines so fluently right now. That will come with time and repetition.
I can understand the lines, but I can't say them.
That is to be expected. However, remember that your skills to listen and understand are quite different from those to speak. So it is not necessarily true that you can easily say what you can listen to and understand. However, it is always true that you can always listen and understand easily what you can say fluently. So, to improve both speaking and listening skills, you always need to focus on saying things out loud. Do you get it?
Yes.
Now, let's see if we can articulate the lines close to what you just heard. Taylor, could you read the lines starting from line number 21 for me, please? Please try to read loudly so that all the students can hear and repeat after you. Everybody, please listen and repeat carefully after Taylor.
Students repeat after Taylor and struggle with articulating "to tell you the truth."
Let me hold you all there for a second. When you articulate the th sound in the word truth, you need to stick your tongue out slightly in between your upper and lower teeth, like truth, truth. Now give me th, th, th.
Luke articulates the sounds incorrectly, sticking out his tongue at the t sound in the beginning.
Luke, you sound like you're sticking out your tongue for the t sound at the beginning of the word. You are sticking your tongue out at the wrong time. You should articulate the th sound at the end with your tongue stuck out in between your teeth. Try after me. Truth.
This is hard.
Yes, it sure is hard, as we don't have such a sound in our language. So you need to work hard to articulate that sound correctly. It is always crucial for everyone to pick up the right sounds and speak correctly. The reason you should focus on accurate pronunciation is because it eventually helps you speak English in a much easier and better fashion. It also makes the communication in English more effective. With that said, let's continue reading the dialogue with a focus on accurate sounds after Taylor.
Continues to repeat after Taylor.
All right, take 10 minutes to comprehend the skit. If you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or ask your colleagues.
Jessica raises her hand.
Yes, Jessica. How can I help you? In line 36, can I say of course instead of why not? Okay, attention everyone, please. The question from Jessica was if you could say of course instead of why not in line number 36. And the answer is yes. However, remember you cannot always use of course for why not, because why not has different meanings depending on the context. Let me show you an example where Jamie asks Alex a question. Jamie might ask, "Do you like ice cream?" And if Alex answers, "No," Jamie can say, "Why not?" In this context, why not means more like, what is the reason? English is confusing. There are too many things to know. Well, as a matter of fact, all languages have somewhat tricky features. You just don't realize that Korean also has confusing features because you are already very fluent in Korean. In other words, English is tricky, but so is Korean. With that said, let's see if we can find an example in Korean which has a similar ambiguity with different meanings for different contexts, like why not in English. Can anyone come up with an example?
Students struggle with finding an example.
Well, I wish I could give you more time to think about it, but we are running out of time. So let me give you a quick example. What about 안 됐다? Do you see the ambiguity of it? Depending on the context, it could mean someone didn't make it, but it could also be someone showing sympathy for another. Correct?
Yes.
Since we are done with part 1 of Skit 9, let's divide you guys up into groups so we can present it. We have 8 characters in the skit, and we have 22 students. There will be 3 groups, and 6 people will have to play 8 roles in one of the groups. I'll count you guys off now. Group A will be Ken, Jennifer, Daniel, Jack, Alex, and Jamie. Group B will be Angelina, Ben, Colton, and David.
How long will we have to prepare?
Great question. You'll get 2 group practice sessions.
2 sessions?
I'm not done. Just like the other skits we've done, we will come back to the skit as often as we can afterwards, so you don't forget the lines. Each time we come back to the skit, each person will play a different character. So we'll all end up knowing every single line? Yes, pretty much.
When do we have to present?
As I said earlier, you will have 2 group practice sessions to prepare before presenting. We will have 2 group practice sessions for each part of the skit to be presented. When we finish part 8, I'm going to have each group present the whole skit. I'm thinking about inviting your families for that. We should be able to use the auditorium. Then you will be performing in front of your family members. Okay. It might seem hard, and I'm not saying it isn't. You'll get the hang of it, though.
That still seems hard. Can I change to Group A? I want to be in the same group as Ken.
I know you and Ken are very close. However, you are already in the same group with Ken for Skit 3. I want everybody to have fair opportunities to be grouped up with everyone else. I want you to play with other members as well, okay?
Okay, I see. It is not a big deal. I will be in whatever group you assign me to.
Good. Thanks, Ben. Now, everybody, please gather around your group. Once you're in your groups, figure out who's going to play which role. Group B, over here. Group B. I'm in Group B. Same. I'm here. How many of us are there?
I'm not sure if I'm a B or not. Me neither, but I think I am. Hey guys, I'm a B. Ditto.
Okay, so that's 8 of us, right? Yes, it is. Okay, let's get started.
I want to play Dad.
That was a bit conceited, don't you think?
Jessica, relax. I was just kidding. Of course you were.
Let's start.
This seems hard. We'll get the hang of it. We better.
Okay, let's get started. How do you guys want to pick roles?
I think we should just call it.
All right, it's worth a try. I'll call out the roles and you guys can take it, okay?
Got it.
Who wants Dad?
Me. Me.
Okay, I don't think this is going to work. Me neither. Let's draw from a hat. I'll prepare it.
Jessica cuts out the rolls.
Great. Does anyone have a hat or something we can use?
Yeah, here.
Fantastic. Here, Luke, pick.
Elizabeth? Wait, isn't Elizabeth a girl?
Yeah, you're going to play Elizabeth.
What? No, of course not.
Luke, chill out. You can be someone else next time. Okay, who's next?
Me.
All right, pick one.
Dad. Hey, I wanted to be Dad.
Hey, Angelina, can I pick? Sure. Kevin. Hey, Luke, Tori's Kevin.
Kevin's a guy, right?
Sadly, yes. I want to pick. Okay, reach in. Zoe.
I wanted to be Zoe.
Too bad.
Yeah. Hey, Angelina, I want to pick.
All right, all right.
Ralph. Not bad. Can I pick now?
Sure.
McKenna. I love that character.
It's a baby.
Whatever. The group finishes picking roles.
Everyone, listen up. Memorize all of your lines over the weekend. Also, remember that you will eventually get to play every character of the skit. So, no need to worry about the roles you picked today.
Okay.
You will have 2 group practice sessions, Thursday and Friday. You will present it on Monday. Sounds good. The bell hasn't rung yet. Sit down, please. Sorry. Make sure you memorize your lines because plays are only successful if you guys work together.
Okay. Can we go now?
1 second. Once again, you need to be able to say all of your lines fluently. You will have a chance to practice in groups on Monday for about 10 minutes before each group starts to present. While you are presenting, I will be evaluating your individual performance based on memory, pronunciation, and presentation. You guys already know that. So if you could work together in groups to build up teamwork over the weekend, it would be good for the group members.
How can we get together during the weekend when we don't come to school?
Well, I will leave it up to you guys. You may want to gather together somewhere after school before you go home. Or you can Skype your group members over the weekend. Remember, you will do much better by listening and following the audio. Simply memorizing the sentences without picking up the sounds won't be very helpful. Also, whenever possible, try to speak English among yourselves or to friends. You can use the lines you have learned so far if you try. That's how you will pick up English fluently eventually. Do you understand?
Yes.
Also, let me remind you of a quiz and a first midterm oral exam next week. The quiz is for the skits we have covered for the past 2 weeks, which means Skit 8 and the first part of Skit 9. Of course, the extra lines which were introduced during the class will be included in the quiz.
Is the quiz like the previous ones?
Yes. Basically, I will put all the lines of the skits with 20 to 25 total sporadic blanks, which you will have to fill in. You can quote the lines from the book to fill in the blanks, or you can come up with meaningful lines of your own. As long as they make sense, you will get credit. Also, I will put about 50 vocabulary questions. I will put Korean words or phrases, and you will put the corresponding English words or phrases next to them.
Does spelling count?
Yes, spelling counts, and you will lose points for misspelled words.
Could you tell us about the midterm oral exam?
Yes, I was about to anyway. The oral midterm will cover all skits 1 through 8, and all the extra lines which have been introduced to class every day. I will randomly select 100 Korean lines from the skits, and you will record each of the corresponding English lines. Transfer the recording onto a computer and turn in the voice file for me to grade.
Wow! How do we record them?
Don't worry, I will show you later. Anyway, you will have 5 minutes to look over the Korean lines before you start recording. It should take no more than 15 minutes to record if you are well prepared. Remember to bring a flash drive to save the recording onto, and then give your recorded file to me. Or, if you do not have one, you can arrange to share someone's flash drive. For the oral midterm, everybody should go to the lab, which I have already reserved on the 3rd floor. You can't be late for this.
Could you talk about the written midterm as well?
Not today, because class is almost over. I will let you know about it tomorrow. Class is dismissed. If you have any questions, come see me. Skit 5, Group Practice. Good day, everyone. Look, Joe is here today. Are you feeling better?
Yes, I feel much better.
I'm glad to hear that. You missed school 3 days in a row, right?
Yes.
Come see me after class so I can give you makeup work.
Okay.
Today we will do group practice for part 1 of Skit 9. Before we do that, let's have a couple of groups present the old skits. Let's start with Group D of Skit 7. Group D members for Skit 7, you're up.
Group D arranges the roles to each member and presents the skit to the class. Miss Kent helps some students who do not remember their lines. Also, Miss Kent evaluates students.
Good job. Next time, I want the presentation to be more realistic, okay? Also, pay closer attention to the intonation and especially to the sounds of the words that are being connected together. When words are connected to each other, the final sound of the preceding word gets buried by the first sound of the following word, or pronounced almost at the same time with the first sound of the following word. For example, I don't want it would sound like I don't want it instead of I don't want it. Are you following me so far?
Yes.
Good. Also note that in normal speech, the t and d sounds get easily softened closely to an sound in the middle of a word or when being connected to another word. For example, I don't want it would actually read more like I don't want it. Further, the t sound gets nasalized before an n sound. So, I want to go reads somewhat like I want to go. Do you understand?
Now I know why English sounds are so hard to learn.
Obviously, that is part of the difficulties we should overcome to become fluent English speakers. Now, let's watch Group C of Skit 5 present the skit. Guys, come out please.
Group C arranges the roles to each member and presents the skit to the class. Miss Kent evaluates the students as usual.
Good job. Now let's have a group practice session. get with your group and practice part 1 of Skit 9. Feel free to ask questions and also talk to each other to make it work. I strongly recommend you speak in English only, unless there is an absolute necessity to speak Korean. Got it?
Yes.
Right now, we have about 35 minutes left in class, so try to get through part 1 at least 3 times. Switch roles each time. Ask me for help if you need it. Okay, guys, get started. Give me your attention for just a minute. I saw some groups just reading the dialogue off the book. You should practice and memorize the lines by yourself so that you make yourself familiar with all the characters. You should always be ready to play any role of the skit. This group practice session is an opportunity for you to practice saying things used in everyday life. Not only that, when you talk to your parents, siblings, and friends, use what you learned from these skits, okay? You will pick up English the most when you really talk to people like your friends and family members. So, don't hesitate to speak English to your friends, your parents, and siblings if you have any.
My parents don't speak any English. How do I talk to them in English?
Well, I can understand that. However, you can still show them what you can say in English. They don't necessarily have to converse with you in English. That will make them really proud of you.
Can I speak both English and Korean with my friends? I only know so much English.
Yes, you can mix Korean and English for now. Especially for those expressions you don't know yet, feel free to speak it in Korean.
But talking in English to my friends outside of class will be strange.
I understand. I strongly encourage all of you to speak English whenever you have the chance. As I said, the fastest way to learn a language is through practice, practice, and more practice.
Okay, Miss Kent. But guess what?
What?
Today is Tori's birthday.
David! Oh, really? Happy birthday, Tori. We should sing the birthday song for Tori. Who can sing the song for us?
Veronica sings very well.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Actually, I know that Veronica is a very talented singer. Veronica, would you start us off, please?
Everyone sings happy birthday.
Thank you, everyone. Good, everyone. It is always a good thing to show people that you care for them, right?
Yes.
Now, let me briefly show you how to pronounce the schwa sound. I hear many of you do not pronounce this very well. In English, this is the vowel sound you hear most frequently, which means that you would have to articulate this sound most frequently among other vowels.
Tori raises a hand.
Yes, Tori? I don't know what a vowel is. Could you explain what it is, please? Fair enough. A vowel is a vocal sound which you make without blocking the air coming out of the lung. Examples of the vowel letters in English are A, E, I, O, and U. The other letters in English are called consonants. Do we have vowels in Korean then? Yes, you are right. So, Tori, what do you think are the vowels in Korean? A, O, E? I know. Veronica, can you name us some Korean vowels?
Veronica says some Korean vowels.
Good job. Now let's go back to the special vowel. It is called schwa. It is also called a neutral vowel. As the name implies, the sound you make for the schwa is a neutral sound. No Korean vowel matches the sound. Also, even though the schwa is represented by one phonetic symbol, the schwa sound is not represented by one particular sound, but many. So, depending on the context, the actual sounds of the schwa are much more like the reduced sounds of ya, o, or e. I still don't get it.
Me neither. I'm not following this at all.
I don't expect you to understand this right away, but I just wanted to show that there is a special sound called schwa. And the sound is produced by simply vibrating the vocal cord in a neutral manner at the given moment. You can safely assume that most of the vowels, without a stress in the beginning or middle of English words, are treated as a schwa.
Can you give us some examples?
Of course. Just keep in mind that the schwa sound occurs typically right before or after a stressed vowel. Examples are behind, ago, ahead, amaze, afterwards, responsibility, hospitality, and congratulations. There are tons and tons of words with schwas in them. Miss Kent, this is getting more and more difficult. How do we know which vowels have a stress and which vowels do not have a stress in a word? That's a really good question. Let me answer your question like this. No native English-speaking kids would know the answer. Yet they pick up English by speaking the language one at a time by listening to and speaking with family members. Even most native English-speaking adults don't know the answer. What do you think this means, Veronica? I have no idea. How can they say words correctly if they don't know how to say them correctly? It's ironic, isn't it? Then let me ask you this, Veronica. Do you think you can explain how the sounds of Korean words change? Not really, I guess. Good. You don't really know the rules enough to explain, but you can pronounce Korean words well, can't you? Yes? So what do you think it means, Veronica? I'm still not sure. It is hard to answer.
I'm guessing, but I think you learn it as you go. Am I right?
You are right. So you learn it by speaking it. As you speak each expression of English, you get to learn the individual features included in the language. People call these features grammar. This is why it is so important for you to learn English with the correct sounds. Otherwise, you will learn the wrong features of English, which will hurt your ability to speak English later. I don't get it. How do you get it as you go? Good question, Tori. Well, it's like eating food and getting the nutrients which your body needs. Food? Yes. How do you eat? I chew and swallow. Right. What happens next? It goes to my stomach and gets digested. Right again. When the food gets digested, what happens next, do you know? You acquire the variety of nutrients from the food. There you go. You are exactly right. And the nutrients are used to build up the energy to support your body, right? Yes?
I think I'm getting there, but I'm not quite sure how this relates to learning English.
Okay, good question. Now, let's say you chew English expressions and swallow them. What do you think would happen then?
I don't know. How can we know? By the way, how can you chew and swallow English expressions?
Good question. By chewing, I mean babbling or practicing verbally, and by swallowing, I mean keeping them in memory. For food, you chew and swallow, but for a language, you perform verbal practices and keep it in your memory. Does it make sense now?
Yes, it does.
So, now Joe, what do you think would happen when you practice English expressions a lot and keep them in your memory?
We can use them later?
Yes, you are right. Also, don't you think the languages would be digested in your brain somewhere?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now.
Right. Then your brain would get all different kinds of features contained in those languages. Then, those features are used to build up linguistic energy or linguistic intuition to support your English skill. Do you get it now, Luke?
Yes, I do. So I would have to eat a lot of English expressions to be a good English speaker, right?
You are exactly right. I'm glad that you understand.
Then why don't we just learn grammar first so that we know how to speak English well?
David, you really want to speak English very well, don't you?
Yes, I do. If I know the English grammar, I think I can speak English much better.
Well, I didn't mean to talk about English grammar. I just wanted to tell you how important it is for you to recognize and pick up the schwa sound correctly, since it is the most frequently spoken vowel in English.
That's what I was going to say, David. Shouldn't we study English grammar first?
Let me say this. I think it is believed by many people that learning English grammar is the key to speaking English fluently. I disagree. Grammar is not the key to fluent English. I'm saying this from experience. Trust me.
I still don't get it. Why?
Well, I don't want to get into a lengthy discussion on the grammar issue. But for now, I will just say this. Grammar is simply a systematic description of linguistic phenomena, and it is not the language itself. In other words, I would say that grammar is like the shadow of a tree. Climbing up the shadow does not let you reach the top of the tree. You know this, right?
Some students nod their heads.
Therefore, you don't learn the language from the grammar itself. You will learn the language only when you tackle the language directly. You will need to learn grammar once you become fluent in English to polish your English. Until then, you will learn English by babbling. Understand?
Yes.
I know some of you still may not feel comfortable with my explanation, but do not fear. You will become fluent English speakers with my guidance.
Then, how do we pick up the schwa sound again?
You pick up the schwa sound by listening to and repeating after a native speaker. That is why I'm counting on the BTM player. My English is not perfect, as I grew up in Korea just like you guys.
You speak English very well, though.
Well, thank you, David, for saying so. But as you know, I am not a native English speaker. I think I have a slight Korean accent in my English, which I hope is not too big of a problem.
I don't think you have an accent at all. I lived in the United States for about 3 years, and I don't really hear an accent in your English.
Thank you, Joe. Where did you live?
I lived in Denver, Colorado.
Did you really? I have a couple of close friends over there. When were you there?
About 5 years ago. My grandmother lived there, so I lived there for about 3 years.
No wonder. Your English is excellent.
Thank you.
Anyway, keep in mind that picking up the correct sound is your main priority. In order for that to happen, you need to constantly listen and practice. I know you all want to be fluent in English. Just do what I tell you, and you'll be perfectly fine. Any questions?
Yesterday, you said you would talk about the written midterm.
Oh, that's right. Well, it's basically the same as the oral midterm, except you will be writing down the answers instead of recording them orally. It's rather similar to the quizzes, except with a lot more questions, like 100.
Are there going to be fill in the blanks?
Yes, there will be a couple of fill-in-the-blanks in various scenarios. However, the answers do not have to be the same as in the book. As long as your phrases make sense, it's okay. Understand?
Yes. Do you think I can ace it if I know everything in the skits?
Yes, you should. That is the goal of the quiz, to help you know all the lines we have learned so far.
I'm going to ace it this time.
I sure hope you do. That's all for today. Tomorrow we will continue group practice. Keep in mind, the more you practice, the more fluent you will be in English. If you want to be a fluent speaker, you really need to be greedy. The more English lines you acquire, the better English speaker you will be. Also, remember that after tomorrow's group session, you will present the skit to the class on Monday. I will be evaluating your performance as usual. If you have any questions, come see me. See you tomorrow. Skit 6. Mother teaching son how to cook.
I'm so hungry.
Well, dinner will be ready around 7.
That's in an hour. Do we have any chips left?
In the pantry. But don't ruin your appetite. How about you help me make dinner? Once you go off to college in the fall, you will have to start feeding yourself.
I'll have a meal plan during my freshman year.
That's true, but it wouldn't hurt to learn a couple of things now.
Okay, I'll help. What are you making?
Lasagna and salad. If we have time, we can make brownies for dessert.
That sounds good. Let me go wash my hands.
Can you pull out the package of ground beef from the fridge? First thing we have to do is brown the meat.
What does that mean?
Cooking the meat in a sauté pan until it becomes a brown color.
I can do that. Do you need to put oil in the pan first?
No, there is enough fat in the meat. Therefore, it won't stick to the pan.
Got it. It's starting to sizzle.
Make sure to keep stirring it so that it cooks evenly. While you are cooking the meat, I'm going to cook the pasta.
Can you show me what lasagna noodles look like?
Lasagna noodles come in a box, just like other pasta. They are just longer and flatter. You can see that some of the noodles are broken, but that's okay. We can just layer them in the baking pan later.
Okay. Do you think the meat is ready?
No, there is still some pink showing. You have to be patient.
I was just wondering.
So I'm putting the lasagna noodles into the pot of boiling water. Remember to cook them al dente.
What does al dente mean?
It means undercooking them a little bit so that the noodles are slightly hard. They are going to cook more once we put it in the oven.
How do I know whether they are undercooked enough?
Just by looking at it, I guess.
That's not very helpful.
A lot of cooking is trial and error. You just need to find what works.
I think the meat is ready.
Looks like it. Go drain the meat in the colander. Good. Now return it back to the stovetop. Add the tomato sauce.
The entire jar?
Yes. Mix the sauce and the meat together. Keep mixing it until the sauce is completely heated.
It smells pretty good.
Here's a bowl. Put the mixture in here. I think I want to add some vegetables to the lasagna. Spinach, mushrooms, zucchini.
Yuck! I hate mushrooms.
You can't taste the mushrooms. I almost always put mushrooms in my lasagna.
You mean I've been eating mushrooms all these years?
It has been my little secret.
I didn't realize you were so sneaky. What else have you been hiding from me?
I'll tell you one day. How about I'll chop the mushrooms and you chop the zucchini?
How big should the pieces be?
I cut the mushrooms in tiny little pieces so that it's harder for you to taste. The zucchini pieces can be a little larger. You should cut about half-inch pieces and then cut them in half.
How do you cut the pieces so evenly? All of my pieces look like they are different sizes.
It just takes practice. Oh, I almost forgot about the onions. Do you want to prepare the onions or the spinach?
I will do the onions. I need more chopping practice.
Onions always make me cry. We will see if they make you cry too.
Why is that?
It is some kind of chemical release from the onions.
Oh, great. I can't believe you're going to make me cry.
Ha ha, it's not too bad. Just so you know, I am using fresh spinach for the lasagna today. However, you can use frozen spinach too.
Is there a difference in taste?
Fresh vegetables usually taste better. However, frozen vegetables are more convenient.
Are you chopping the spinach into small pieces too?
You don't have to chop the spinach. When you cook it, it shrinks down a lot.
My eyes are tearing up from the onions. And now my hands smell bad too.
Don't worry, the smell goes away. Good job chopping the onions. You are going to be an expert.
It helps to have this big, sharp knife.
So now we are going to combine all of the vegetables in a sauté pan.
The same pan as the meat and sauce mixture?
Yes, but don't worry about rinsing the pan. All of it will be mixed together eventually.
I just turned on the stovetop to low heat.
Turn it up to medium-high heat. It will cook faster.
Do I need to keep stirring the veggies?
Yes, but only for a couple minutes. While you cook the vegetables, I am going to grease the baking pan.
With grease?
No, with butter. You can also use cooking spray, but I think butter tastes better.
I think the vegetables are ready. I will mix the meat sauce back into the pan, if that is okay with you.
Yes, thank you. Now we are ready for the layering process.
What goes first?
A layer of noodles. You can start putting them down. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you should try to cover the bottom of the pan completely.
The broken noodle pieces are like a puzzle.
That looks pretty good. Now spoon another layer of sauce. The meat and vegetables should be spread evenly.
Is that enough sauce?
I would add a little more. That's good. Now a layer of ricotta cheese.
Ricotta cheese comes in a plastic tub? I thought it would be a hard block of cheese.
Not exactly. It is watery, like cottage cheese. I will put in a couple of spoonfuls on top of the sauce.
Now we have our 3 layers.
Just repeat the layers a couple more times until you run out of room in the pan.
This is kind of fun. It better taste good.
It always tastes better when you cook it yourself. For the top layer, we are going to sprinkle mozzarella cheese. It is a block of cheese, so I will have to use the cheese grater.
I've never used a cheese grater before.
It's easy. You place the grater in a bowl, and then you just slide the cheese up and down against the grater. When you pick up the grater, all of the cheese is in the bowl.
Can you buy shredded mozzarella? At Kenny's house, we used it to make quesadillas.
Of course you can, but I think freshly grated mozzarella tastes much better. Sprinkle the mozzarella cheese on top.
I can't believe how good this looks. I want to eat it now.
Let's cover the pan with some aluminum foil. I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees.
Can you open the oven door? I will put it in.
Be careful, it's heavy.
How long do we have to wait for it to cook?
We will cook it for about 40 minutes and then check on it.
Sounds good.
Let's prepare the salad now. I bought some spring mix salad.
Here is the salad bowl.
First, we need to rinse the salad. Next, we put it in the salad spinner to dry it.
That's good. Soggy salad is the worst.
And then I usually put in whatever salad toppings I have in the fridge at the moment.
I saw some croutons in the fridge earlier.
Yes, let's pull those out. Also, there are some strawberries. I think it always tastes refreshing to put fruit in a salad.
How about some mozzarella?
You will have to grate some more.
All right. This should be enough.
Now toss the salad with these serving forks.
What about salad dressing?
We have a couple bottles of pre-made salad dressing. Or, if you want, we can make our own balsamic vinaigrette.
If I have learned anything today, it is that fresh food tastes better than frozen or pre-made food.
That's a good point. It actually isn't that hard either.
What ingredients do we need?
We need olive oil, balsamic vinegar, garlic, sugar, and salt and pepper.
White sugar or brown sugar?
Brown sugar.
Should I grab a mixing bowl?
Grab a small mixing bowl and a whisk. Do you know how to whisk?
I have seen you do it before.
So pour about a quarter cup of balsamic vinegar in the bowl. While you whisk, I will put in the garlic and sugar. We want the sugar to dissolve in the vinegar. Now I am putting in the salt and pepper.
Aren't you going to measure?
I've had a lot of practice. I know about how much is needed just by looking at it.
No wonder you are such a good cook.
I appreciate that. It helps when you have two growing boys with huge appetites.
I am definitely going to miss your cooking next year.
You can come home for a meal at any time. Okay, now I'm going to put in the oil. Keep whisking. Okay, now we are done.
Great!
Good job. I am proud of you.
Do we want to make brownies now?
Yes, we will just make the brownie mixture now and put it in the oven after the lasagna is finished.
I think we are out of clean mixing bowls.
Will you rinse a couple in the sink? Anyway, I usually try to clean as I am cooking. Otherwise, the mound of dirty dishes becomes too overwhelming.
Okay, I washed these.
So baking is a little different from savory cooking. The measurements have to be more exact.
So I guess we need some measuring cups and measuring spoons?
Yes, let me find my brownie recipe in my recipe book.
Why don't you read the ingredients out loud and I will find them?
Good idea. This is much easier when you are helping. Butter, white sugar, 2 eggs, vanilla extract, cocoa powder, flour, salt, and baking powder.
Ugh, this chocolate is gross.
It's not normal chocolate. Cocoa powder is for cooking only. That's why it isn't sweet.
Oh, I didn't know that. I have all the ingredients. Can you keep reading the recipe?
Melt half a cup of butter in the microwave for a couple seconds. Put 1 cup of sugar, the eggs, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla in the same bowl. Now mix it all together. Okay, now beat in 1/3 cup of cocoa, 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Let's use the electric mixer so that it's easier for you.
Yeah, my arm is getting tired.
That's it. Let's put the bowl aside and take a break while the lasagna bakes.
Works for me. Dad better appreciate the dinner we prepared.
He always does. I'm glad we could cook together, Adam. I sure am going to miss you.
I'm not leaving for a couple months.
I know. The reality is just sinking in.
Let's try to make some more meals together before I leave.
Skit 7. Husband and wife talk on family matters. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. I have dinner waiting on the stove. Did you have a long day?
I just received a call right as I was about to leave work. You remember that high-maintenance client I told you about?
I remember. He called you at 5 p.m. on a Friday?
Yes, and he wouldn't stop talking. He wanted to tell me about all of these synergistic projects he had in mind.
I guess he doesn't have any exciting plans for the weekend.
The worst part is he always argues over the bill. The bills would be much lower if he didn't yap so much.
You should start every phone conversation with a disclaimer. Before proceeding with the telephone call, please be advised of my billing rate.
That would be pretty funny. I'm just glad this week is over. I'm ready to settle in for a movie night. Where are the kids?
They left to hang out with their friends. Ben is at Jacob's house, and Emma is at the football game.
You let Emma go? She has to take the SATs tomorrow morning.
I know. She promised that she would come home right after the game.
She should be studying.
Well, she has been studying hard all week, and she said she needed a break.
She always needs a break.
You are way too hard on her. Just relax. She will be fine.
The SATs are a big deal. What if she doesn't do well?
She will do well.
Well enough to receive a scholarship to her dream school?
If she doesn't get a scholarship to USC, we will send her to an in-state school.
Do you think she will be happy at an in-state school?
Eventually. A lot of her friends are planning to attend in-state schools, too.
That's what I'm worried about. I want her to meet new people and experience new places. She has always had such an adventurous spirit.
She has her entire life to explore the world. I just want her to get a solid education first.
I suppose she will get a solid education, whether it is at a state university or elsewhere. If she goes to school in-state, do you think we can convince her to live at home?
Definitely not. She would hate that.
Well, we'll see how much she loves cooking every meal and doing her own laundry.
I'm sure she would still come over to raid the fridge and drop off her dirty laundry.
Ugh, great. So are we still planning that trip to California to look at schools?
Yes, she's narrowed down her list. No more Northern California schools.
So no more Berkeley?
No more Berkeley. Apparently, someone told her it's always chilly in Northern California.
Weather as a deciding factor? I guess I don't blame her. I'm nervous that she is going to fall in love with USC even more when we visit.
I'm sure she would be devastated if she doesn't get in, but she will get over it.
I'm more worried that she will get in, but we won't be able to afford it.
We will cross that bridge when the time comes. She actually told me today that she wants to major in Spanish.
That's interesting. Did she tell you why?
I think her new Spanish teacher, Miss Rosa, has been encouraging her.
Oh, yes. I remember meeting her at parent-teacher conferences. Isn't she from Peru?
That's right, a small mountain village in the Andes.
Do you remember our trip to Machu Picchu?
How could I forget? What a great vacation. I can't believe it's already been 5 years.
Everyone thought we were crazy for taking 2 young kids with us.
I think they handled it even better than we did. They were hiking around like it was nothing.
I know, while my legs were killing me. My favorite part was getting back to the village and eating those huge feasts.
They were really hospitable, weren't they?
They sure were.
Anyway, Miss Rosa is trying to persuade Emma to join the editorial staff of the Spanish journal, Que Bueno.
What is a Spanish journal?
It is a literary journal. Students can submit poems and personal stories written in Spanish, and the journal publishes them. Students can also submit Spanish-inspired artwork. Miss Rosa has even been providing extra credit to her students for submissions.
That is pretty cool. I was on a literary journal when I was in high school, but written in English, of course. Do you know what the time commitment is?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
I wouldn't want it to distract her from her studies.
I wouldn't consider it a distraction. It is more of a supplement to her studies, especially if she decides to major in Spanish. That would look pretty good on her college application.
I suppose so. A Spanish literary journal is right up her alley. Let's talk about it this weekend.
She might even have an old issue that we can look at.
I wonder what she would do with a Spanish major.
She could be a Spanish teacher, or if she wanted to start a business, it would certainly be a huge benefit to speak to Spanish-speaking customers.
That's true. Or she could be a Spanish translator. I bet she would be good at that.
Furthermore, she can study abroad in a Spanish-speaking country during college.
Now that's an idea.
Maybe Spain?
Can you imagine? Living in Barcelona for a couple of months would be a dream.
We could go visit her.
I don't know how we'd ever afford it.
We might have to start pinching pennies.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for dinner?
I could live with that.
Our financial situation would be much less stressful if we didn't have to worry about putting 2 kids through college at the same time.
I know you are worried about that.
You aren't worried?
I think Ben will definitely get a scholarship in a couple of years. He is such a smart, driven kid.
I know. I couldn't believe how sophisticated his science project was.
He definitely gets his brilliant scientific mind from me.
You wish. I think he gets his brilliant scientific mind from me.
Okay, fine. He gets it from both of us. The science teacher, Mr. Rogers, wants Ben to continue developing his light spectrum technology over the summer. He really thinks it could lead to something.
I definitely think we should encourage him to do that.
Do you remember my friend, Hudson Mallon, the electrical engineer?
The tall guy with the funny spectacles?
Yes, that's right. I bet he could help Ben out. I should give him a call.
Does Ben still want to go to robot camp this summer?
I think he's undecided. A lot of his old camp friends have decided not to go.
He could take some introduction to engineering classes at the community college instead.
Do you think he is mature enough for that?
We have to remember that he's 15, not 5. I think he has really proven his maturity this school year.
Straight A's. Can you believe it? I'm so proud of him.
Me too. It would be great to reward him with a new laptop. Too bad they are so expensive.
I think he enjoys spending time in the computer lab with his friends.
And that cute girl Lydia.
Haha, they were so cute at the science fair. He blushed every time she walked by.
We should have her and her parents over for dinner sometime.
That would probably embarrass him to death.
Well, we would ask for his permission first.
Maybe we can have a backyard barbecue once the weather gets warmer. He can invite some other friends, too. Doesn't Lydia have an older brother who is Emma's age?
Yes, Brandon. I asked Emma about him. She called him a huge nerd.
That's not very nice.
One day she'll realize the smart ones are the keepers. But she's still young. She will figure it out eventually.
I hope so.
Thanks for making dinner. This is delicious.
More delicious than peanut butter and jelly?
Well, nothing beats peanut butter and jelly.
Ha! I didn't realize the bar was set so low.
So I rented a couple of movies from the Red Box because I didn't know what you were in the mood for. Adventure? Comedy? Dark, brooding movie about death?
You know how I love to brood, especially on a Friday night. Actually, Jamie called before you got home. He wants to know if we want to go to a movie with him and Dawn tonight.
Really? What movie?
I think it's the new Will Ferrell movie.
Will Ferrell is such a doofus.
You have to admit that he has his funny moments.
I couldn't believe how much you laughed during the last Will Ferrell movie we watched. I think you even snorted a couple of times.
Hey now, I can't help it. He always tickles my funny bone.
Well, if you want to go, I'd be happy to. Let me just change into more comfortable clothes.
Okay, I will call him back. Should I text Emma too? She always gets mad when I call her when she's with her friends.
Well, you should tell her that is part of the privilege of having a cell phone. If she doesn't want calls from her parents, I guess she doesn't want a cell phone.
Good point. I will tell her that we expect her to be home by 9.
How is she getting to the test tomorrow?
I figured I would drive her.
Sounds good. I'm going to go get ready. I'll be down in a couple minutes.